Welcome to Morris Money, where we give you stock tips in under 5 minutes. I'm your host, Morris Willie. Today, I'm making a special video. I'm compiling everything we've talked about in the past couple weeks dealing with Ilus as we get prepared for their second quarter results. So if you've seen those videos, I'm glad. If you haven't, it's the perfect time to start watching them because we have them all here for you right now. Today's video is brought to you by the subscribers. We have something in store for you guys. Go to TomMorrisWillie.com where you can download the due diligence wallpaper. We have them for phones and desktop. Thanks again for 300 subscribers. Today, I'm talking about if Ilus can become a billion-dollar company or if it's going to zero. Ilus released a shareholder update where they talked about multiple things, but John Paul Backwell's segment of the shareholder update had to be the most interesting. The most significant comment came from John Paul Backwell when he said, "We have been revising our acquisition strategy in favor of completing larger acquisitions with existing technology and patents in place with significant revenues. In some cases, huge revenues. We now have the potential to be a billion-dollar business by the end of 2023. That was a short summary, but what he's pretty much saying is that they're falling out of favor with smaller companies and in turn going for more experienced revenue-producing companies that are already established. And he also said that's why they haven't been releasing much news. These acquisitions obviously have a much more quiet down approach to them, as the larger companies with larger revenues, and as we can see, they can't be talked about much until the acquisitions are completed. So in that case, I can understand why we haven't heard much from Ilus. Something that does scare me though is the potential dilution that can come from acquisitions. Now obviously I love these big acquisitions, but again, it comes with watering down current shareholders. Ilus tweeted out July 30th, the 50 million shares were added. If you don't know, 53 million shares were added to the company's current share structure and were used to fund growth such as acquisitions including a $300 million company being added to the Ilus Group. Exceptional value for such growth as will be evident in our Q2 results. Speaking of Q2 results, that's why I want to segue into. I think I said it in my last video, but these Q2 results will definitely be important for everybody. One, we'll start to see if these Ilus acquisitions have paid off, but we also get to have a look at their balance sheet, which as a shareholder in an OTC company like Ilus is definitely important. Stuff I want to see is, one, their revenues, but I don't necessarily find that important. You see, the thing is, Ilus has been talking a lot about revenues recently, and while revenue producing companies are obviously important to Ilus as a whole, I want to see things like cash on hand and potential profitability, because it doesn't help if you have a $300 million revenue company being added to your portfolio if it's losing $350 million. So there's no profit to be made there. So I definitely want to see if these revenue generating companies are producing profit. And I'm not saying that producing losses are a bad thing. Over the long run, some of these companies can become profitable. But I want to see if these companies are producing profit and how much profit Ilus is producing as a company. So I guess you're wondering, should you buy? I'm not against it. I see Ilus as a long-term stock. Now I have seen people pull up their charts and do some technical analysis, and it's obviously true. Ilus has been in a downtrend. But over the long run, I see this as a perfect opportunity to buy Ilus. I haven't been buying Ilus in the past couple weeks, but I'm going to start buying again because in my opinion, 9 cents is a great price for this stock. I'm going to keep buying because long term, I see the stock at least getting back up to its all-time highs around 50 cents. And in a couple years, potentially dollar range, multi-dollar range. But for right now, the most important thing we have for Ilus is waiting for the Q2 results, which I'll definitely talk about on the channel. So, will Ilus go to $1 billion or will it go to zero? I didn't really answer the question because I'm going to leave that up to you. Let me know your thoughts about Ilus below and let me know, do you think it's going to be a $1 billion company or is it going to be another washed up penny stock? Today, I'm going over Ilus's summary of their second quarter results. Following several 2022 second quarter highlights, the company reports that it's increased its revenue over the same quarter in 2021 by 588% and by 553% over the first quarter of 2022. Ilus reported record second quarter revenues of $19.6 million. The company's assets also increased considerably over the same period in 2021. Following a strong quarter as projected, Ilus confirms a strong balance sheet and substantial growth in revenue, providing a solid platform for the company to deliver on several monumental milestones in the second quarter of 2022. The company remains confidently on track to achieve its 2022 run rate revenue forecast of $140 million. Ilus is in the final stages of completing its audit, following which it plans to file its Form 10 with the SEC to become a fully reporting entity, change its registered name, and apply to OTC markets to uplist from OTC Pink Market to OTCQB. The company has been administratively aligning its subsidiaries in preparation for its first subsidiary uplist to a major stock exchange. In line with this, the company's industrial and manufacturing subsidiary, Quality Industrial Corporation, recently received approval for its name change from Wikisoft Corporation and for its first choice ticker change to QIND from WSFT. Don't think we're only receiving the summary from the company. Ilus' CEO Nick Link commented, Ilus confirms that second quarter disclosures containing the company's full financial report for the period will be filed by the company's auditor by the 15th of August as required. This news took me by surprise. I didn't expect anything to come out before the 15th, but hearing about the revenues already is kind of interesting. They had second quarter revenues of $19.6 million, which I think is considerably low, especially when they want to achieve revenues of $140 million for the year. For the first quarter of 2021, they had revenues of around $3 million, which only brings them up to around $23 million if you want to round it up. So they still have to achieve $117 million in revenue to beat their forecasts, which I think it could still be achieved with their businesses that they're acquiring. But currently, it looks like they might not achieve it, but that's just my opinion. Today, I'm talking about Ilus' settlement of 2 promissory notes and the announcement of further funding for the company. Ilus announced that the company has confirmed the settlement of 2 GPL Ventures, GPLV, public company, promissory notes, each to the value of $500,000. Ilus also confirmed that it has received a further $5.6 million in funding from RB Capital Partners, RBCP, for its next phase of acquisitions. As previously registered in its disclosures on the 6th of April 2021 and April 28th, 2021, respectively, Ilus issued 2 $500,000 promissory notes to GPLV to fund acquisitions and further business expansion. Ilus is now pleased to confirm that both notes have been settled through an agreement reached between RBCP and GPLV. Including the settlement of the GPLV notes, Ilus has received $4.5 million in funding from RBCP. The additional funding is being used by the company for further expansion, including the completion of agreed acquisitions. Furthermore, Ilus' majority-owned entity, Quality International Corporation, QIND, has received $1.1 million in funding from RBCP, which has been used for the first payment for an in-progress acquisition. All funding obtained by Ilus has and will continue to be documented in the company's disclosures. The CEO of Ilus, Nick Link, commented, "We are pleased to confirm the removal of the GPL debt as well as the funding we have received from RB Capital. With the good quality funding we have available to us, we remain in a very strong position to complete our short and medium-term objectives, including the closing of our next phase of already agreed acquisitions. Our reliable financing partners are fully supportive of our business and the ambitious growth strategy which we have been delivering and will continue to deliver." This isn't the news I expected from Ilus. Well, actually, I didn't expect much news at all until August 15th or so when they disclosed their second quarter results. But this new funding, I'd assume, comes at a lower interest rate or adds some benefit to Ilus besides the obvious funding. I'm not necessarily mad at this news, but it's something that I want to keep in mind because they just announced more shares being issued and they're announcing further funding. So this does come at a possible risk to shareholders. But I feel as though this is bringing value to shareholders and not necessarily diminishing shareholder value. Today, I'm talking about Ilus' audit and when it could potentially be completed. When I did my company update video on Ilus and talking about whether it could be a $1 billion company or a $0 company, someone commented that I forgot to mention the audit. So I'm going to put their comment up right about now and we're going to talk about the audit real quick. Now, in the company update, the company said regarding its audit, which is currently underway, Ilus confirms that it's on track for the audit to be completed during the summer of 2022, as originally communicated. After completing the audit, Ilus will file its Form 10 with the SEC to become a fully reporting entity, changing its registered name and apply to OTC markets to uplist from the OTC Pink market to the OTCQB. Now, let's break it down real quick. To start off with, the company said it should be completed by the end of summer 2022. Assuming they're on track with that, the summer ends around September 22nd, 2022, so they've got a little over a month. The ideal situation for the company would be able to announce the end of the audit in their second quarter results, but that might not be likely, so expect it before September 22nd. The other thing I found interesting is that they talked about filing a Form 10. If you're not sure what a Form 10 is, an SEC Form 10 is a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and it's used to register a class of securities for potential trading on U.S. exchanges. Any company with over $10 million in total assets and over 650 or more shareholders is required to file a Form 10 with the SEC. This makes obvious sense for Ilus as they have over $10 million in total assets and obviously have more than 750 shareholders. But also filing a Form 10 with the SEC gives the company a professionalism about itself, along with the potential to uplist from OTC Pink markets to OTCQB. There's a distinction with this too. Now, OTC Pink, formerly known as the Pink Sheets, the OTC Markets Group Pink is the least regulated of the three market tiers on OTC markets. Branded as Pink, the requirements for getting listed on the OTC Pink markets are limited. Companies that trade on the Pink markets include penny stocks, shell companies, distressed companies, delinquent companies, and companies that have limited their disclosure. Ilus wants to uplist to the OTCQB tier, which is the middle ground tier. OTCQB offers early stage to fully reporting companies the benefit of being a publicly traded company, or a more professional publicly traded company. See, Ilus wants to get away from the pink markets, and I can't blame them because uplisting to OTCQB already brings up a reliability and trust amongst shareholders and potential shareholders wanting to invest in. In my opinion, all this is good news for shareholders as there's nothing wrong with any of this. The company is finishing their audit, wants to file a Form 10, and uplist to OTCQB. In my opinion, this brings nothing but value to shareholders. Today, I'm discussing Ilus's update on them entering the metaverse and them providing an update on their acquisitions. At the Ilus annual shareholder meeting held earlier this year, the company spoke of its vision for wearable technology to be used in firefighting and emergency response. Following through on this vision, Ilus has officially launched its wearable technology project with the goal of utilizing big data and the latest in artificial intelligence to train and protect first responders and war fighters. The company is entering into a joint venture with what it believes is the world's leading haptic suit manufacturer and will be launching the Ilus suit. The software technology for the specific scenarios in which the suit will be used is currently being developed by the existing Ilus acquisition, CurveRx. The company's initially focusing on software development for the defense and firefighting sector. In training scenarios, the haptic suit provides real-world feedback and monitoring capabilities. In a virtual reality training scenario using the suit, the trainee can feel heat, cold, rain, and realistic real-life stimuli, as well as haptic feedback that realistically mimics weapon recoil or the kick from a firefighting nozzle. The suit's sensors capture and record motion for performance monitoring, which is so vital in defense and emergency response settings. It also monitors the user's physical state through its biometry system. The cardiorespiratory system is monitored to give feedback on the user's oxygen saturation levels, heart rate, and pulse rate variability. Although this is only a snapshot of the suit's capability, the data it provides enables CurveRx to develop personalized virtual and augmented reality content for military and firefighting training, as well as related applications. In addition to training, the solution is also being developed for use during live missions or incidents to monitor performance, collect and analyze data, as well as provide dynamic situational information to its users. When deployed properly, the training of warfighting and first responders in a virtual simulated environment means that trainees can complete training at multiple locations simultaneously. Simulation is also safer and more cost effective. This does not mean that virtual reality training should replace live training exercises, and the ideal solution can be found in the deployment of both virtual and live environment training. Therefore, the Ilus suit is being designed for use in both virtual and live environments. The virtual suit training market for defense alone is expected to exceed $5 billion by 2026. Several companies and organizations are already interested in the Ilus suit for their specific applications. Plans are in place to conduct specific prototype testing with the interested parties towards the end of 2022. Ilus then plans to demonstrate the Ilus suit's capability at the Intersect exhibition in Dubai from the 17th to 19th of January in 2023. Regarding acquisitions, Ilus and its subsidiaries are in the final stages of due diligence for 5 acquisitions, where letters of intent have been signed, and the company hopes to close at least 2 of these acquisitions soon. Final stages of due diligence are underway for the acquisition of 2 wildfire equipment manufacturers, a U.S.-based fire protection installation company, and 2 defense technology manufacturers, one of which includes a drone division with existing product and revenue. In total, Ilus is currently at various stages of negotiation with 13 potential acquisitions and is confident it will achieve its 2022 and 2023 revenue goals. The managing director of Ilus, John Paul Backwell, commented, "Having recently the opportunity to test what will become the Ilus suit, I was absolutely stunned by how immersive and realistic the technology was. I am pleased that we are working closely with the world's leading haptic suit manufacturer, which holds several technology patents, and I believe we are ahead of the curve regarding what we are developing for the defense and firefighting sectors." On the acquisition front, we are moving forward as planned towards exciting announcements. Added to that, we now also have several much larger acquisitions in negotiation. This is a lot to take in, and I gotta say, I'm happy we're hearing more from Ilus again, and I love talking about them on the channel, and you guys seem to like it too. But let me know what you think about all this news below. I love Ilus's growth, but somebody commented on my last Ilus video talking about how they won't be profitable anytime soon, and I obviously agree. And I don't expect them to be profitable anytime soon. The company seems to be in a growth phase where they're planning on growing and expanding. This comes with a lot of debt and honestly a lot of risk to shareholders. Again, I talked about how they were issuing more shares and they just got another line of credit, which isn't bad, but it does bring some risk. But you should know this going into investing into a company like Ilus that's in the process of acquiring brands and trying to build a conglomerate of a company. I said I don't expect the company to be profitable for at least around 3 years or so. Now, they might be buying companies that could be profitable, but as it seems right now, they're buying nothing but revenue-producing companies, which isn't bad. But something I definitely want to see from Ilus, which I think everybody will want to see, is them turning a profit. And I guess we'll get to see in the second quarter results how much revenue they're bringing in, along with the expenses and possible debt they have. So assets, debt, revenue, and potential liabilities are all things we gotta look out for in the upcoming second quarter results. But let me know what you think about all this below. We definitely ran over 5 minutes today, but there was a lot to get through, and then obviously my comments extended it longer. So I'm gonna end the video off here. How do you feel about all this news? And I'll extend the question to you. How long do you think it will be until Ilus could be a profitable company? Please don't take this video as financial advice, and thank you for watching Morris Money.